Okay, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and we are here. One moment, please. Okay. Well, we had to do a little bit of adjustments on the Wi-Fi connection here. Earlier today, I was dropping a lot of classes, and I had to go and try to get an amplifier for the signal for Wi-Fi. If this doesn't work, then I'm going to have to get not a coax cable, Cat 5, Cat 3 cable, one of the cables to connect directly into the router. So let's hope this works well. I'm gonna do this little adjustment here. Yeah. Swing around this way. It's a little bit better. Better. All right. Okay, so I am here. Let's see if anybody joins in. If not, then I'll just go ahead and teach, and I will go ahead and broadcast. Let's see. Give it a second here. I am here. I am here. Okay. All right. Don't like seeing that. Don't like seeing that. All right, so today we will be having, what's today's broadcast about? Today is Caja de herramientas. Caja de herramientas. Caja de herramientas. So, caja de herramientas, meaning toolbox, la caja de herramientas. This has been an interesting summer here in Cucuta, Colombia. Colombia in general, with the quarantine. I wouldn't say interesting, honestly. I would just say it's been on lockdown, so it hasn't been much fun. No, it hasn't. Hasn't been paradise. But I didn't come here for a vacation in paradise. I came here to live. And I guess being a part of the community, you have to accept what's dished out, the cards that are dished out to you. Uh-huh. Okay. So here we have it. Caja de herramientas. Caja de herramientas. What means caja de herramientas? When I say caja de herramientas, caja de herramientas is a couple of phrases, a toolbox of phrases that you can use as far as tools to help you learn Spanish. Key important questions to help you learn your Spanish better, to help you learn how to teach yourself and speak Spanish better. Okay. So in the caja de herramientas, I have a list of phrases. I always teach my beginning students the caja de herramientas. So let me go ahead and get the caja de herramientas started. And we're going to start. We have altogether 7 phrases. You may want to add a few of your own phrases after the 7 I suggest. And we can go ahead and start with the first phrase. First phrase is entiendo. Yo entiendo. I understand. Yo entiendo. So in that first phrase, we have the verb entender, which is an irregular verb, and I'll show you why. Entender, to understand. So the reason I say it's an irregular because this happens. Then we have entiendo, yo entiendo, entiendes, entiende. Entendemos, entienden. Entienden. Entendés is for nosotros form for people who are going to go to Spain, España. But normally I don't teach that. Every now and then I'll go ahead and shoot the conjugation of it, vosotros in there. But hey, normally you won't hear it in a lot of the Spanish-speaking world, except for two places I believe, maybe in Guinea Equatorial y España. Okay, so that's the irregular verb. So what do you think someone can say to you for you to use yo entiendo? They may ask you without the pronoun. They may say, ¿entiendes? Meaning, you understand? ¿Entiendes? And then you can reply, yo entiendo, yo entiendo. Now, of course, number 2 on that list is going to be the opposite of yo entiendo, which is no entiendo. No entiendo. Yo no entiendo. No entiendo. I don't understand. I don't understand. Also, I'm going to teach something else about the word do and don't in English and Spanish. Pero yo no entiendo. I don't understand. Okay. So moving along. We have a good phrase. And again, like I said, these are just some couple of phrases I recommend. You could probably add your own if you like. These are 7 phrases I recommend for toolbox. Caja de herramientas. Yo tengo una pregunta. Yo tengo una pregunta. Of course, we should be familiar with the verb in that one, which is tener. And yo tengo, tú tienes, él, ella, usted tiene, nosotros tenemos, vosotros tenéis, ellos, ellas, ustedes tienen. You always want to know how to conjugate the verb because of its importance to conjugate the verb. Definitely important to conjugate the verb. Don't let anyone determine to you or tell you that it's not important, because if you don't conjugate the verb, you're going to get lost in who's doing what, who's saying what. So remember, verb conjugation is important. If you don't conjugate the verb, you're going to get lost in who's doing what, who's saying what. So remember, verb conjugation is important. If you don't conjugate the verb, you're going to get lost in who's doing what, who's saying what. So remember, verb conjugation. Okay, let's stop that. We don't want to get too much feedback there. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, so here we go. We have that one, we have the verb tener. Now, normally, you don't say quiero preguntarte algo. We don't say quiero preguntarte algo or yo quiero preguntar. We normally say quiero hacerte una pregunta. which means I want to ask you a question or make a question to you. They say I want to make a question to you. So let me help you with, let me put that in there. Yo quiero. You don't say, quiero preguntarte. You don't say, I want to ask you something. They say, I want to make a question to you. Yo quiero hacerte una pregunta. Yo quiero hacerte una pregunta. Which means I want to make a question to you. Yo quiero hacerte una pregunta. Sí, yo quiero hacerte una pregunta. All right, all right. Yo quiero hacerte una pregunta. All right. Quiero hacerte una pregunta. I'm going to make a question to you. We don't say, yo quiero preguntarte algo. We don't say that. We say, yo quiero hacerte una pregunta. I want to make a question to you. And in that one, you have hacer, which is an irregular verb. So let's just conjugate that for you real quick. So you should know how to conjugate these verbs. Verb conjugation is important. Make sure you're getting that down to a T. But hacer is an irregular verb, so I'll help you. Hago, haces, hace, hacemos, hace. Okay. Awesome stuff. Awesome. All right. So we have yo tengo una pregunta, or you could say yo quiero hacerte una pregunta. I want to make a question to you. Okay. So moving along. I'll put some blanks in there to also help you with that. All right, number 4, número cuatro. At this point, you should be mastering the numbers, at least 1 to 100, and then from there you go on. But at least master the numbers. Número cuatro. Okay, so número cuatro is how to ask a definition of a word. So of course, you fill in the blank. So let's say if we have a word like, let's see, el plato, something simple, el plato. Maybe you don't know what that means. So let's see how that works. ¿Qué significa? ¿Qué significa? That means what means, or what is the meaning of? ¿Qué significa el plato? ¿Qué significa el plato? So that blank means fill in a word that you may not know. ¿Qué significa el plato? And then, of course, the response to that would be el plato significa. Now, if they're a bilingual speaker, they will tell you what it means in the second language, the plates. Or if not, they will use synonyms to describe that word so you can deduce a meaning of the word. But ¿qué significa? And it would say, el plato significa. Remember, you don't say, ¿qué significa el plato es? No. It's one verb in that question. So you use one verb in the answer. A lot of people get confused. I try to keep them through the basic step-by-step process, because if you get into a routine and you can understand how it thinks, how the thinking part works out, instead of always trying to translate everything. ¿Qué significa? Okay? Also, you may hear this sometimes too. And this is another way to ask what something means. So you may hear it acts like this. ¿Qué? And I'm sure I said this before. ¿Qué quiere decir? And of course, you would fill in the blank with the meaning of with the unknown word or phrase. ¿Qué quiere decir? ¿Qué quiere decir? That doesn't mean what someone wants to say. That's another way for asking, what is the meaning? Just think, what is the meaning? Don't try to translate it and say what someone wants to say. Because I spoke with a lot of people and I would say, ¿Qué quiere decir? Meaning asking the meaning of something. And then learner of the Spanish language would say, what is something trying to say? What are you trying to say? They got confused. So I had to say, okay, ¿qué significa? I say that to say this, don't let yourself get confused if you hear the combination, ¿Qué quiere decir? Because that means someone who is speaking the language is asking you what is the meaning of something, not what someone is trying to say or what something is trying to say. And the response would simply be the word or the phrase, quiere decir. And then they can give you a definition or a synonym to help you with that meaning. Okay? All right. Good stuff, good stuff. And I see I have 3 people attending class today. If there are any questions, please feel free to shoot out questions. It's always good to have questions. That way your understanding becomes a little bit better. All right. I hope I'm not talking too fast. And let's see, moving along. Okay, so that was number 5. ¿Qué quiere decir? ¿Qué quiere decir? All right, so number 6. Número 6. Número 6. Okay. Número 6. ¿Cómo se dice? That's if you're asking someone how to say something in the language and you don't know how to say it. Of course, whatever you don't know how to say goes in the blank. ¿Cómo se dice en español? Le escucho. ¿Cómo se dice en español? And I'm talking slow and enunciating so people can understand and be able to pronounce it correctly. Because a lot of people, they'll just read something and say, yeah, I get it. Okay, all right. And they rush. Learning a language is not a rush. It's a step-by-step process. It's a rich learning experience. Una experiencia aprendizaje. You don't want to rush it. So if you don't tune your ears, and I say this 1,000 times, if you don't tune your ears or you don't say things right, then when people go to speaking it, you're not going to catch it. You're not going to understand because reading and writing language is totally different from speaking a language. There are plenty of people, for example, there are plenty of people who know how to read languages, but they can't speak it. Plenty of people who know how to read, for instance, I know a lot of people from the Middle East who know how to read the Quran, or a lot of people from Africa who know how to read the Quran, but it's written in Arabic, but they can't speak Arabic. So reading and writing something is totally different from speaking it. It takes a special skill set. Okay, so, ¿cómo se dice en español? And then you say, the response would be, se dice, and then of course, in the blank would go, how do you say it? So practice. Go through, I know it may seem mechanical, but the mechanics are definitely something you have to work out. Like I said, learning a language is like a sport. I always had to learn the mechanics of the jump shot and the box out and the crossover. And then when I got on the court at practice or in the game, I had to execute it. But the mechanics were important. The practice was definitely important. Now people will say, I don't need to. Don't believe that. Don't think there's some magic pill or some magic method away that's going to take you away from practice and repetition. That's what it is in the language. You have to include that into your learning experience. Okay, so that was número 6. All right. Número 6. Y we have número siete, and that's going to be in two different forms as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. Okay. ¿Cómo se escribe? ¿Cómo se escribe? You're asking how does somebody write something? ¿Cómo se escribe? Sometimes if you can't understand what they're saying and they spell it out for you, you'll catch it. So what does that tell you? Yes, the alphabet is important. So make sure you master the alphabets. That is very important in your basics, in your fundamentals, okay? Fundamentales. Fundamentales. All right. Also, you may hear it as this. ¿Cómo se deletrea? ¿Cómo se deletrea? That means how do you spell it out? Deletrear. Spell, to spell out. Deletrear, to spell out. That's a regular AR verb. Deletrear significa to spell out. Como se escribe is a little bit basic. Como se deletrea shows that you have a little bit more elevated knowledge and richness of the language. Como se deletrea? All right, all right. And then, of course, the response would be se deletrea. And then they'll spell it out for you using the Spanish alphabet. So, yes, learn the Spanish alphabets. All right, se deletrea. Okay, I believe I went over all of the verbs. Take a minute, write down all the verbs and all these phrases, and make sure you know how to conjugate them. If not, then look them up and learn how to conjugate the verbs in Spanish. In a minute, we're going to get into do and does, the auxiliary for do and does. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I will show you what I mean in a minute. Give me 1 minute and I will be right back. Okay, okay, mi gente, I am back. Gracias por su paciencia. Muchísimas gracias. Okay. All right, so we had the caja de herramientas, and let's go into do and does in Spanish. Do, does. So, what do you mean when you say do and does? Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. So, what do you, keep it simple, what do you want? What do you want? Okay, so if we're looking at that, beginners may want to translate it word by word. That would give you, of course, we start off with the question. ¿Qué do hace tú quieres? ¿Qué hace tú quieres? However, pay attention. That is not correct. No, because as do is an auxiliary, that doesn't exist in Spanish. So in Spanish, it would be technically saying, what you want. What you want. Now, translate what you want. ¿Qué quieres? ¿O qué quieres tú? Okay, tú quieres. I just normally say ¿qué quieres? ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué quieres? You see, do as an auxiliary does not exist in Spanish. Let me show you another one. And a question for what does she want to do? Now notice the do in this question is not auxiliary. To do is hacer, right? And this is a good key to remember to hacer, to do or to make. That's why when Spanish speakers learn English, they say, I'm going to do the bed. They don't say, I'm going to make the bed. So being do and make are two different verbs in English. I have to teach the difference between I'm going to make the bed and I'm going to do the bed. Anyway, so let's get back to it. Now, what does she remember? The does auxiliary does not exist in Spanish. So translate that. Before I do it, I want you to translate it. Give you a minute. Before I translate it, I'm going to give you a minute to translate it. All right, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and translate it. Perfect typer, so I'll make mistake, but I'll catch it incorrect. Okay, so that's it. ¿Qué ella quiere hacer? ¿Qué quiere hacer ella? ¿Qué quiere hacer ella? So sometimes you'll see that, or you'll hear that, I should say. ¿Qué quiere hacer ella? ¿Qué quiere hacer ella? ¿Qué quiere hacer? ¿Qué ella quiere hacer? But, ¿qué quiere hacer ella? The innotation determines a question. ¿Qué quiere hacer ella? So that's how you can understand it's a question as opposed to a statement. So notice, what que she wants, ella quiere. To do, hacer. Remember, a verb in the infinitive form, a verb in the infinitive form has a to word meaning in English. And we can't forget that. We cannot forget that. That is important. Good job. Kick it out, said a good job. Good job. Okay, so remember, it has a two-word meaning in English. So to something in the infinitive form. Hablar means to speak. Conocer, to get to know. You see, two sometimes maybe more than two-word meaning. Okay, abrir, to open. You see, infinitive form means two things, and that's another thing I have to teach my English students going back to English. Is it means two things, two open infinitive. So because a lot of times they'll say something without the two, and I have to teach them a double verb combination. You have to have the two in there. Let's say I want to eat. They'll say I want to eat. No, don't forget I want to eat. All right, so that's what I mean by that. And the do and does auxiliary does not exist in Spanish. Okay? All right. Let's see, we got three people who must be following. They must be following pretty well because so far no one has asked any questions. No questions asked. Okay, good, good. So I am going to give you a chance to ask questions. And if no questions, I will move on. I will move forward. I'll move forward. And I'm going to get into answering questions because a lot of things, and oh yeah, and also how to study Spanish. A lot of people don't know how to study. Right, they don't. It's a technique. You have to know how to study a language because I know people who've been taking Spanish for years and they still can't understand basic phrases or basic questions or how to answer basic questions. And you've been doing it for years. That means your study technique is off. It's not the language. The language is easy. If a child can get it, you can get it. Your brain is able to absorb and learn the language if a child can. So that means the study technique is something we have to fix. The study technique. All right, so let's get into the study techniques of Spanish, or any language, as a matter of fact. Study technique of language. Now, of course, there'll be other people who have other opinions, but take the good that can be useful for you and use it, and whatever's not good and be useful for you, then don't use it. Study technique of language. Study technique of language. Okay, so what is a study technique of language? Okay, so I am going to start off with a study technique of language in one phrase. Let me see. Let's choose a phrase. All right, I have three people watching. Somebody give me a phrase, and I'll show you what I mean by study technique. Come on, give me a phrase. Give me a phrase. I don't want to pick it on my own. That'd be boring. So somebody pick a phrase. Okay, nobody wants to pick a phrase. I will do it then. Let's go with, what do you want? What do you want? So this is the study technique. I'll break it down for you. What do you want? First thing you do is you learn how to say that in your target language. And how do you say what do you want in Spanish? ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué quieres tú o qué tú quieres? Whichever way. ¿Qué quieres tú o qué quieres? Okay, so it's three words. ¿Qué quieres tú? We already learned that do doesn't exist in Spanish, so that we can kick that out there. So now, how do I study that properly to absorb it? K. We know K always means what, right? So keep repeating that. If you have to write it down 50 or 100 times before, once you hit K, and gay, that means what? What? Gay, 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 gay. So keep saying that to yourself. Keep repeating. Keep remembering. Gay, 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 gay. Eventually you remember, you hear the sound and you won't translate. You mean gay, and that means okay. So they're asking a question. Okay. Information, asking for information. Okay, okay. If you need to write it down, write it down. If you need to say it 1,000 times, record yourself saying it, say it. I would say record yourself saying the entire phrase. Listen to the entire phrase being said correctly. Make sure you're saying it correctly. Okay, okay. So that's how you study. That's one way of method of study. Repetition. So now look at quieres. Okay. So what is quieres? It's a verb. And in Spanish, of course, we conjugate verbs. Okay, just like in English, we conjugate verbs. So let me see. I want. I'll do it in English for you so you can get my point. I want. You want. He, she, it wants. We want. They want. All right, so we do have a conjugation, just a little slight change. We add S, third person singular. See that? Now in Spanish, we say, okay, that's a verb. So how does that verb conjugate it to speak with I, you, he, she, it, we, they? So then we say, okay, so learn verb conjugation. All right, so now we learn. Yo, now in the beginning, use your pronouns. Later on, people won't use their pronouns because they're more proficient. But using the pronouns helps to mentally map it out because you ain't gonna be writing down everything. When a conversation flows, you're not gonna have time to write it down. You're not gonna have time to think about it, mapping it. But mentally train your brain to mentally map it out. So use your pronouns. And when you conjugate, you do a verb, you do 2 columns, left, right, singular, plural, okay? If you want me to send you a verb conjugation worksheet, email me here. Email me to elandaluslearning@gmail.com and I will send you a verb conjugation worksheet, just a simple Word document that I created with a chart in there. You can duplicate it and go ahead and practice writing it down because sometimes writing things down does help a lot. A lot of people, my students, get lazy, don't want to write nothing down. I said, but I send you out I send you out the transcripts. You need to read and write. Language, you have to read, write, and speak. 3 things. Read, write, speak. Do as much of the 3 equally, okay? All right. So here we go. You say, okay, now I know how to conjugate the verb. In the present, we'll start off with the present. Yo quiero. Tú quieres. Cosas de amigos. Good, good, good. Ella quiere. Okay. Nosotros queremos. Right, right. Someone else is conjugating as well. Okay, so you go ahead and conjugate it, and then I'll let you do the conjugation part. Good. Finish the conjugation of querer. Now notice how it's spelled. It's a little bit irregular, but it's okay. Just master that verb. So now, there you have it. You have the verb conjugation, so you know how to say I want, you want, he wants, she wants, it wants. For example, the puppy. We want, they want. Know the conjugation of a verb. So that's a study technique. So once you master all that in the present, you know how to say anything in the present with the verb want. Now, you can master about 20 verbs a week. And in 6 months' time, you take 4 times 6, 24, and you take 24 times 24 times 20. And that'll give you what's 24 times 20, that's about 480 if my math is correct, 480 verbs in 6 months. That's pretty a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised how fast you can learn if you got a right technique and a method. You want to get organized and repeat a method. Every type of successful process has a routine, a mechanical method to it. Any type of business, any type of sporting event, any type of machine function, programming language, it has a mechanical process that you go through and you cycle and recycle and recycle. And learning is the same way in a sense. You don't want to be haphazard or helter-skelter with your learning. You want to be having a learning method. And this is what I'm trying to help you do because it helps your learning process much better and it helps you retain more. Now, I'm sure people get on here and they'll say otherwise, but try it. Give it a try. See how it works for you. If you recommend or suggest any other thing, I'm open to suggestions. Let me know. Comment on this on the comment down below. Also, give it a like, thumbs up. Doesn't cost you anything to give it a like and thumbs up and share. Please share and subscribe. All right, I love that. Thank you very much. All right, so you know how to use the verb querer in the present form. Once you learn the present, then learn the past conjugation. Once you learn the past conjugation, learn the future conjugation. Then you know how to speak of things in the past, present, and future. So one important thing is to know how to say what you want, what you need, and what you have. Those are the three top important first verbs that you should learn. To say your wants, your needs, and what you have, or your obligations. Wants, needs, obligations. That should give you a hint. I think I want to do that for next class. Wants, needs, obligations. Okay? All right. So now you study that, you know how to say it. So you know how questions will be asked with that verb querer. So you know people will say, ¿Qué tú quieres? ¿Qué ella quiere? ¿Qué ustedes quieren? What do you all want? ¿Qué ellos quieren? What do they want? So you know those verbs. That's the question that will be coming. So once you know the verb and you know the question that will be coming, you automatically are going to be able to anticipate how to answer. Now you have this verb querer. Now, what do you do with that verb querer? Place that in a situation. What do you mean? Place it in a situation. Give you an example. You take your car to a mechanic. They're going to say, what do you want? That's a situation. You go to a restaurant. You order what you want. That's a situation. So these situations that you build in English, think of the vocabulary to build them in Spanish, and it works the same way. Almost the same way. The sentence structure is a bit different, but that's later on down the line. But this is how you learn a process. You just don't jump from here to here to here, ping, 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 and all of a sudden you come and put together, you learn. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Another thing, there are those people who say, I'm going to learn a bunch of vocabulary words before I start speaking Spanish. Doesn't work like that. Does not work like that. You did not learn your first language before you start speaking. From day one, you learned a few vocabulary and you put it into practice. And you learn to speak it. Oh. Okay. We put it into practice, okay? Always to practice and speak. No matter how bad you sound, you just go ahead, speak it, and make it happen, all right? Good. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Now, we got that down, and you can use other verbs in other situations and build around situations. Okay. So now, let's think about this. Another thing is with a language, how do you train your ears to hear it? Because people are not going to talk slow. And the more you speak in that language, the faster they're going to go until they reach a maximum velocity. So if you say you speak a little bit and you start speaking and they get the feeling that you know more than what you think you know, their speed is going to increase. Believe me, it happens all the time. I try to tell people I speak a little bit, and after about 2 minutes, they say, oh, no. You don't speak a little bit. Next thing you know, turn around and they're flying. They're flying. What do I have to do? Keep up. All right. So here we go. Now, let's see, what else did I want to tell you before we end? We're coming up in a few minutes here. All right, so here we go with the verb conjugation. How to study the language. Oh yeah, okay. So now let's get into understanding how to listen for and answer questions. Let's get back to, I'm going to go to this, let's get back to what does the child want? For instance, el niño está llorando. The boy is crying. El niño. Create your own situations as well when you're learning the language. El niño está llorando. We're going to call him El Llorón because he's a crybaby. Oh man, I remember one time I called an ex-girlfriend of mine, her nephew. I called him that, and he said, no, señor. I said, why are you crying? I said, you're gonna get it, man. Why are you crying? Stop crying. It's okay. You're gonna get it. And she said, I don't call him El Llorón. I said, but he's crying. He's El Llorón. But anyway, so El Niño está llorando. So, what do you think you can say? We just learned it. ¿Qué quiere el niño? Right? See. Okay. ¿Por qué está llorando? ¿Qué quiere el niño? ¿Qué quiere el niño? So, this is the question thing. How to answer questions. How to answer questions. So we listen for the first palabra de interrogación, interrogative question word, which is que. We've already mastered all the interrogaciones, palabras interrogaciones, question words. So we have que, cómo, cuándo, cuántos, dónde. Learn all the interrogative words. So we know que means what. So that means what wants the boy. Okay, so here we go. With a question, with an answering a question, it's easy. ¿Qué quiere el niño? So the subject goes first. In this case, it's going to be el niño. Now what goes next? The verb. We have to conjugate the verb according to the subject. El niño quiere. And then we can say a few things what the niño wants. So that's how we do it. We listen to the question, what's it asking for? Then the answer is going to be the subject first, the niño. Then the verb comes next. This may seem simple and this may seem basic, but believe me, it works fast and it's very effective. I have people who can't answer questions or formulate a full sentence to answer questions because they don't break it down to the basic methodology. Never try to answer a question with one-word answers. I get this every morning. I'm teaching a class in English, Monday through Friday. They're trying to answer questions with one word. Then 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, 12 weeks later, they have to take a test. Now they've been, for these 12 weeks, used to just answering questions with one word. Now, during the test, it's all verbal conversation. There is no written. You sit down, either you're online now, because we don't have our classes presenciales anymore, and you talk to someone who speaks the language. Now, fortunately, if I give you the test, I speak slow so you can understand and enunciate. However, there are some teachers who won't speak slow. They won't enunciate. They just will speak on the subject matter that you are supposed to know. So good luck if you think they're going to slow down and speak slow for you. These are the English teachers. So imagine, there's no, can you slow down? I sometimes do it because I understand I want people to pass. I just don't want to I hate seeing that long face when I say no. So, ¿qué quiere el niño? Let's get back to it. So now we can create a practice situation with 10 different things. ¿Qué quiere el niño? So I'm going to give you 10 things and you say what the niño wants. Complete a complete answer with this. You say, ¿qué quiere el niño? El niño quiere thing number one, but say it Spanish. ¿Qué quiere el niño? El niño quiere. Now, it may seem silly to keep asking the same question, but it trains your brain and your ear to understand. You can never say it enough times. Okay, so here are 10 things. I'm going to say the ball. Let's see, 2. Let's see, the juice. 3. Boy. 4. To go to the park. 5. 6. Let's see. The ball, the juice, the toy, to play, to eat. Okay, starting to get a little bit lost, a lot of signal loss here. Okay, let's see, 2. I'm just gonna say 2. Let's see. So to eat, the toy, the juice, wants to, did I say to eat? Internet connection problem. God, jeez, man. Back to a difference. Bounce me back. All right, I should be bounced out, bounced back in. Yeah, allegedly, it's supposed to increase their bandwidth and internet speed later on this month. These are one things that you're dealing with Airbnb. You get here, everything is all peaches and cream, then you're like, boom, hey, this internet is not acting right. I need more bandwidth and speed. We got to do something about that. This is an important part of my, you know, work. If I don't work, I don't pay rent. You want me to pay rent? Then come on, let's get this internet speed up to date. Get it a little bit fast. Okay, so I'm connected to a different source. Let's see. I should be good to go. Okay, so number 6 to eat, number 7 to take a nap, number 8 that's it to play. I already took the play. Let's see, number 8, the candy. Let's see. I'm going to say number 9 to drink a milk shake. 10 to drink a milkshake. So 8 to take a nap. To go. So what did I say? To go. Did I say to go to the park yet? No. To go to the park. All right. So there are 10 things you can practice saying, and every time you answer that question, say the question. All right. Let's see. Remember to verb, it means you say the verb in Spanish and infinitive. So again, to eat, I'm giving you a hand. To eat means comer. Do not say a come. No, you don't say it like that. You say comer. El niño quiere comer. Oh, I just gave you one. Okay. So go ahead, play with that. Let me see how that goes for you. Get a couple in there. And we are about out of time for today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And please, like I said, email me. I can give you a verb conjugation worksheet and just put in the subject line, verb conjugation worksheet. I'll attach it and send it right back out to you. Okay? All right. I promise you, I will not spam you. All right. So go ahead. Right. Good job. Now, answer the question in complete sentences. I see everybody. I want everybody to answer a couple of questions before I go. Make sure we're saying complete sentence. Suma. Okay, Suma. He must be practicing going to Spain. Suma. Normally we say el jugo, but la suma is juice as well. It's just a particular part of juice different from el jugo, but la suma is good. All right, so now answer the questions with complete sentence. ¿Qué quiere el niño? Or ¿qué quiere la niña? Practice saying it with different people. But remember, the important thing is to answer all questions with complete sentences. For instance, this one. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Don't say, so you don't say your name directly. Say, mi nombre es. Like that, okay? Don't just say, mi nombre es. Sorry. Don't just say whatever your name is. Say, mi nombre es. And also take a look at my channel. Look for the pronunciation videos. Look for the pronunciation videos. Pronunciation is very important. If you get used to speaking something and you're saying it wrong and your ears and your mind is not hearing the correct sound, when someone, a native speaker, come, yes, they speak fast. When they come and say it correctly, you're not going to be used to the sound, so you're not going to know what they're saying. And you can be 10 years studying a language here. If you study it with the wrong sound, when someone who speaks it says it with the right sound, you're not going to catch it. Good job. El niño quiere jugar. See, he did not say el niño quiere a jugar or a juega. He said el niño quiere jugar. You leave the second verb in the infinitive form. I'm sure I've said this before, but with one subject and two verbs, the second verb you do not conjugate. Okay? All right. So what do I mean by that? You don't say, Alan, you said correctly, el niño quiere jugar, but you do not say, now remember, I'm saying do not say this, do not say, and if you do, don't tell you learned it from me. Okay. Do not say, el niño quiere juega. No, 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 ho, ho, ho. No, 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 no. All right. Okay, so we're all out about time today. Appreciate you tuning in. If you didn't catch this broadcast, catch it on the replay. Catch it on the replay. And remember, vamos a aprender español, conectando culturas a través de lenguajes, creando solidaridad. I'm going to sit around for a minute or two and see if any questions come through. If any questions come through, I will gladly answer them. If not, We can email me questions, and remember, email me for the verb conjugation worksheet if you like. All right. Sit here, wait a few minutes, check my messages, see if we have any questions. All right, thank you. Nos vemos.